Addod Solutions. Add-on desired.
Hello viewers, welcome to Addod Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I am Lokesh Penigunda. The session is mainly designed for aspirants preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of this session. First, we have an article where the Supreme Court has invalidated the Maratha reservation which is provided by the Maharashtra state government. A few years back, due to continuous protest from the Maratha community groups, the Maharashtra state government has set up a community led by Mr. Gaikwad. So this commission was called as Gaikwad Commission. And this commission has recommended to the state government to provide 16% reservations to Maratha communities, to people from Maratha community. And later the government has accepted this recommendation and the government has brought the Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act of 2018. So through this act, the Maharashtra state government has provided 16% reservations to the Maratha community who are living in the state of Maharashtra. So what happened was, even before this 16% reservation, there existed a 52% reservation for various communities living in Maharashtra. So there is 52% reservations for people coming from SCs, STs, OBCs, nomadic groups and other communities as well. So there is already 52% reservation and now 16% additional reservation are given to Marathas. So the total reservations in the Maharashtra state became 68%. So people has went to the court stating that this is violating the Indira Sahane judgment. In the 1992 year, the Supreme Court has given a landmark verdict regarding the reservations. In the Indira Sahane judgment, the Supreme Court has stated no state shall cross a 50% reservation in the jobs, and this can only be broken under exceptional circumstances. So you can only break this upper limit under exceptional circumstances. So people went to the High Court stating that this is not an exceptional circumstance. The High Court has stated that reservation for the Marathas should be given. But what it did was, rather than giving the 16% reservation to the Marathas, it has reduced this reservation to 12% for Marathas in government jobs. So 12% is the reservation for Marathas according to the High Court judgment. And people again went to the Supreme Court stating even this reservation should not be given to the Marathas, because even in this case, the total reservation in the state of Maharashtra is breaking the 50% limit. So the Supreme Court has gone through this report and petition, and it is stated that there is no exceptional circumstance in the Maharashtra as to break the 50% ceiling limit. So the reservation, which is now 12% to the Marathas, have been struck down by the Supreme Court. So what you need to understand is that there is a Gaikwad Commission which recommended this reservation, and next is the SCBC Act of 2018 which provided this reservation. Next is the High Court reducing the reservation from 16% to 12%, and next is the Supreme Court on the whole invalidating even this 12%. Next, the United States government is proposing a waiver of IP protections on vaccines. So it is accepting the request by various countries. So we know that very few companies, that is medical firms or medical companies, are able to produce COVID-19 vaccines. So only few companies have successfully developed COVID-19 vaccines. So we have seen COVID-19 vaccines from Moderna, Pfizer, Serum Institute of India, Bharat Biotech and several other companies as well. But what happens is, though these companies have successfully developed it, it is not available to the middle classes and the lower classes. What was the reason? The reason was unavailability of the vaccines. Unavailability of the vaccines is the main reason, and later unaffordability of the vaccines is also a huge reason. So why are these vaccines unavailable and unaffordable even though many companies have developed different types of COVID vaccines? The reason was intellectual property rights. So the intellectual property rights are exclusive rights given to a creator for his creation. So as these medical companies have created the COVID-19 vaccines, the formula they have developed to prepare this COVID-19 vaccine should not be used by any other company. So if any other company is utilizing this formula to prepare the COVID-19 vaccine, it will be held by law and it will be punished by law. So what many countries are requesting is, if you waive off this intellectual property rights for COVID-19 vaccines by using the formula which is already developed by some medical companies, we will be able to mass produce it. So let's say there is company A and there is company B which has developed different types of COVID-19 vaccines, and let's assume that combinedly these two companies are able to produce only 10 lakh vaccines a month, and also they have kept the price at 5,000 rupees per vaccine. So this is the case with regarding companies A and B's vaccine. If you waive off the intellectual property rights, any other company who has the capability can produce this. So not only A and B but also C, D, E and all other medical companies will be able to produce it. So you might produce more than 10 lakh per month because many other new companies are also will be producing, and as you have more amount of vaccines and as you don't have to pay much for the original makers, you will be able to sell these vaccines at a lower cost. So what are the basic advantages of intellectual property rights waiving? First is you will be able to produce more vaccines, and second is you will be able to sell these vaccines at a lower cost. So many countries including India has requested the World Trade Organization to waive off this intellectual property right for a small period regarding the COVID-19 vaccines alone. And the United States government is also supporting this initiative or supporting this request. Next we have an article where it is stated the workers' income has fell by 17%. So which report has stated this fact or figure? It is stated by the State of Working India 2021 report. The State of Working India 2021 report. So who gives this annual report? This is given by the Azim Premji University, and this is an annual report proposed or given by the Azim Premji University. And also you should note that the theme of this year's State of Working India 2021 report is 1 year of COVID-19. The theme of this year's report is 1 year of COVID-19. Next we have an article where the Competition Commission of India has initiated a probe against the Tata Motors. So we will see in this article regarding the CCI. CCI stands for Competition Commission of India. This is a statutory body, that is, this was established through an Act of Parliament. So there was an Act of Parliament called as Competition Commission for India Act of 2002. It has replaced something called as MRTP Act. So there was an MRTP Act which stands for Monopolies and Trade Restrictive Practices Act. This act was replaced by the Competition Commission of India according to the recommendations of Raghavan Committee. You should always note down these committees because there might be a question which might be asking about a committee, and it might ask this committee is related to which particular topic. So Mr. Raghavan Committee has recommended the replacement of the Monopolies and Trade Restrictive Practices Act with the Competition Commission of India Act. So what is the main function of this act? The main function of this act is to promote competition and to make sure that there is no anti-competitive behavior in the market. Next, we have an article where it is stated Mary Kom is set to train at ASI in Pune. So we'll deal with Miss Mary Kom in this article. Miss Mary Kom, whom you can see in this picture, is a 6-time world champion, world boxing champion. And also you should note that she is the only woman ever to have this 6-time boxing champ, to become this 6-time boxing champion. And apart from winning the world boxing championship titles, she also won medals in the Olympics, in the Asian Games, in the Commonwealth Games, and she is currently the Rajya Sabha MP. She is currently a member of Rajya Sabha. She was nominated to the Rajya Sabha in 2017, and from 2017 till now she is continuing to work as a Rajya Sabha MP. Next, we have an article dealing with the state of Sikkim. So we'll see where Sikkim is first. Sikkim is a landlocked state and it is between the countries of Nepal, China and Bhutan, and it is lying near to the West Bengal. So Sikkim is a northeastern, you can say it is a northeastern or a eastern state, and it is bordering 3 countries. And also you should note that Sikkim became a state joined to India only in the year 1975. Till the year 1975, Sikkim was a protectorate state, and it was ruled by Namgyal dynasty. So the Namgyal dynasty rulers have ruled the Sikkim till 1975, and in the 1975 there was a referendum. What do you mean by a referendum? Referendum is a voting process, and in this referendum the people were given an option to either join India or to stay away from India. Majority of the Sikkim people have voted to join India. Thus Sikkim finally joined Indian territory. It happened only in the year 1975. And also, as we are talking about Sikkim, you should know that India's tallest mountain is in Sikkim. So the Mount Kanchenjunga is in the state of Sikkim. This is India's highest peak ever, and it is also the world's 3rd highest peak. Next, we have an article where some people of some Belarusians have filed a case in the Germany regarding the human rights violations that took place in Belarus. So we'll see where Belarus is. Belarus is a European country and its capital is Minsk. The president of Belarus is Mr. Lukashenko. And what happened was, since the Belarus became an independent country from 1994 till today, he is the same president. So from last 30 years, he has been acting as the president of Belarus. And in the latest election also, the polls have stated the same person, Mr. Lukashenko, has won in the polls. But the opposition and the people are opposed to this because they are stating that there is huge violations in the poll conduct and they have protested against this election result. So what happened was the protesters were met with severe oppression by the government forces of Mr. Lukashenko. So people from Belarus have filed a case in the neighboring Germany. Regarding the human rights violations of Mr. Lukashenko. Next we have an article dealing with India and China. We'll just see some terms which are important from the examination point of view. So there is something called as the Great Leap Forward. The Great Leap Forward. And also an article or a topic regarding the Cultural Revolution. Cultural Revolution. So what you need to understand is both the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution took place in China. So both of them are relating to the China. Next we have an article where the bond yields has fallen down after the RBI has proposed to buy additional government securities. So we'll see how buying of additional bonds by the RBI has led to falling of the bond yields. So let's say the government has issued a bond. What do you mean by a bond? It is a monetary instrument through which the government is trying to take loan. So if the government is issuing a 100 rupees bond, it means that the government is in fact taking 100 rupees loan from that particular person who is buying this 100 rupee bond. So why would a person buy a loan from the government? Why would the person give loan to the government? It is because he would get some interest. The government, when it is giving this bond, it will state that for every 100 rupees bond we are providing, we will give you 10 rupees interest per year. So what we see is that there is a 10% interest because they are giving 10 rupees for every 100 rupees loan they have taken. So the interest rate is 10% per annum. Later what happens is, let's say person A has bought this bond. So he has bought this bond at 100 rupees and he is getting 10 rupees from the government every year. But later what he will do is, if he feels that there is huge demand for the bond, he will sell this bond to person A at 110 rupees. So person B is stating, if you give me this bond, I'll give you 110 rupees. So he will sell this 100 rupees bond at 110 rupees to person B, but still this person B would only get 10 rupees because the interest rate is constant. The bond price might increase or decrease, but the interest rate will be the same. So if you are getting 10 rupees for every 110 rupees, what would be the interest rate here? It will be 10 by 110 rupees into 100. Then the actual interest rate has reduced to 9%. Earlier, when you are giving 10 rupees for every 100 rupees, the interest rate was 10%, whereas as the bond price is increased, its bond yield has been decreased. So similarly, if Mr. A is selling the 100 rupees bond to Mr. C at 90 rupees, he is selling at 90 rupees to Mr. C because he might need some money for some urgent purpose, so he is reducing and selling it. Even when Mr. C buys this 90 rupees bond, he will still get 10 rupees as interest by the government because the interest rate never changes. So when he is getting 10 rupees, what would be the interest percentage here? It will be 10 rupees for 90 rupees because he is buying it only for 90 rupees. So what will be the interest percentage? It will be 11.11%. So we can see that when the price of the bond is increasing, the yield or the interest this bond will give is reducing. So if the price is increasing from 100 rupees to 110 rupees, you are getting only 9% interest. Whereas if the price of the bond is reducing from 100 to 90, the interest rate is increasing, because though you are getting 10 rupees, you are getting 10 rupees for every 90 rupees here. This is how the bond price is inversely proportional to bond yield. So what we can see here is, as the RBI has stated that it will buy more amount of bonds, what it would lead is, it would lead to higher demand. So when the demand increases, the bond price will increase. When the bond price will increase, the bond yield will decrease, because they are inversely related. Next, we have an article where it is talking about the India Services Business Activity Index. India Services Business Activity Index. We'll just see who gives this index. This is a monthly index given by a firm called as IHS Markit. So IHS Markit is the firm which gives this index every month. And with this, we have covered all the relevant articles from both the newspapers, and we have come to the end of this session. Inform about Addod's initiative to your other aspirant friends, and show your support by liking, subscribing and sharing our videos. Thank you.
Addod Solutions. Add-on Desires.